Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing another Swiss Fate Reforged draft. Opened a pretty lousy rare in Crucible of the Spirit Dragon, so I think we're looking at... Our uncommons are okay too, but I think we're going to take one of the commons. So I think we're either taking Douse and Gloom, which I'm kind of leaning towards, or Hunt the Weak, both of which are pretty good removal. Hunt the Weak probably allows you to kill bigger things, but is a little more narrow to use, whereas Douse and Gloom I think is probably just better in a morph and manifest format. I think Douse and Gloom is probably the first pick. Actually, I take that back. Sandstep Outcast I think is probably the best. I only got it once before and didn't work out as well for me. I mean, Douse and Gloom is removal, which is a solid argument to take it over this, but the fact that you get 2 bodies for 3 mana, and one of which is flying, I think we probably just take the Outcast. It's probably the best first pick here. Okay, follow-up pick, well, Wandering Champion seems fine, even if you don't get the blue or red, but Reach of Shadows is very good. Could just be take the stronger removal spell. That's probably right. It does put us in 2 colors right away, but I don't think I got a big issue with that. Black-white is certainly a good combination of colors. I mean, if I want to keep my curve ultra low and be beat down, I could probably take the Wandering Champ. But I think I'm taking Reach. I want to make a warrior deck anyway. The fact that this gives you a warrior already, we're off to a kind of good start on that front. Maybe table the Skirmisher or something. So let's take the Reach of Shadows. Let's see if we can't build some sort of Abzan or Mardu warrior deck. That would be nice. Okay, so Beastmaster is probably the best pick here. Just because if you're the only one that even has a creature, you just get to draw a card, which is pretty insane. So I probably just, this is almost like a rare effect if you think about it. Maybe it isn't, but the fact that it's like a green draw card effect each turn, that's totally, just by himself, that's what's so weird about it. It's like, just by himself on an empty board, he draws you a card every turn. That's so good. I think it's got to be the best, it's got to be the strongest card in this pack. So if I'm taking it, it moves me into Abzan, which is a bit awkward, but I could also just be black-green, and then maybe, I don't know, Sultai, but if the white doesn't work out. But let's just take the Beastmaster. It's got to be the best. All right, Channel Harm. I wanted to play this card because this looked... Yeah, I think Channel Harm's pretty insane. Otherwise, Map the Wastes. I did want to play Map the Wastes too. I like that card. Fixing and a buff spell for fairly reasonable cost. Could also be white-green, no black or splash black. I mean, both of those options are fine. I wanted to try Channel Harm out. I think this is a really good card. Huge combat trick as well as a removal spell. I feel like the amount of board shifting this card can do is probably pretty insane. Okay, so Jungle Hollow is fixing. Dragonbell Monk has prowess. I think I like the Sky Captain the most. There's also a Typhoid Rats, which is fine, but Sky Captain, I like what the Bolster does for this guy, or, buff your little flying dude. If we're in Abzan, which it appears we are, having the +1/+1 counters is just super beneficial. Otherwise, Jungle Hollow is fine fixing, but I mean, you only get 1 Fate Reforged back, so I kind of want to take as many of the cards I can get, non-land cards that is. Sky Captain number 2, perhaps? What's Battlefront Crew Shock do? Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Each creature you control... Oh, wow. Yeah, this seems really good. With all these buffs we already have, can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So all your creatures can't be double blocked. Or all the creatures you have with +1/+1 counters on them can't be double blocked. But we already have like a couple that can get that. Otherwise, I take another Sky Captain, which is fine, but not amazing. And there is Harsh Sustenance, which is in fact removal. I don't know how good this. I haven't played this guy yet or against him, but he seems pretty good. Turns off like your opponent's kind of blocking options. I kind of like it. Whether or not it's really good, we shall find out. All right, here there's a Shadow Spear, but I mean, so far we're mostly white and then green and then black. So maybe let's try and stick with that trend. Because I do want to take this map the wastes, I think, for fixing and bolster purposes. I just think I mean, Formless Nurturing is also gives you a Hill Giant. I just feel like Map the Wastes is likely going to be better. Ramp plus fixing just seems really valuable. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. I played against it. I was impressed. Kind of want to take it. All right. Frontier Mastodon. Yet another card that could potentially, you know, get the Ferocious Trigger or whatever. There's also a Soul Summons, and there's a Blossoming Sands, and an Inoc Guide. All of which are fine. Maybe the Guide's actually the best if we're going in Abzan. Once again, rewards for the +1/+1 counters are most prevalent in Abzan because you have all of the Outlast guys. And Inoc Guide has duality of fixing as well. I'm going to take the Guide. I decided. Okay. Formless Nurturing seems fine here. Yet another card that gets a +1/+1 counter. So far we have potential to be super synergistic, which I like. So I'm going to take this Formless Nurturing. Okay. Abzan, Rune Mark, so you can get Vigilance. Yeah, it's not bad. I think I'd rather have Return to the Earth for sideboard. Good chance that comes in against any sort of rare artifact enchantment or flying creature, which is pretty nice actually. Okay, Map the Waste number 2 or Formless Nurturing number 2? It's a good question. This bounces manifest stuff. Kind of want to take Map the Waste number 2. I like it. Then we can have our curve a little bit higher. It takes us from 3 to 5. We'll see. The bolster on it. Triple Map the Waste? Do I need that many? If I take 3 Map the Waste, I can probably easily get away with 17 lands, which I kind of like. Otherwise, I take an Arishan Cleric, which is a fine card. Buys you some time. I'm going to take a triple Map the Waste. I don't know how good the card is yet. It's going super late, which would indicate my opponents don't think much of it, but I think it's actually really good. So now I just need, out of the next couple packs, all I really got to do is get some nice cheap creatures, and we're gonna be sitting real pretty here. Yeah, we get like some 1 and 2 drops in green and white. I think we're looking real good with this ramp plus bolster effect. So we're definitely Abzan. We want to get Outlast creatures that give abilities like Falconer in this deck just becomes bonkers. Like basically all of our guys are going to fly with the Map the Waste. So Falconer I think is going to be high priority. You know, long shot squad. Ooh, how about Anafenza? Yeah. Let's take a 3-mana 4/4. Seems good to me. Nice rare to open. Nice mythic to open, rather. Smite the Monstrous, reasonable. Krumar, reasonable. Killshot, pretty good. I actually like Killshot quite a bit. Let's take Anafenza pretty happily here. It's a nice pickup. Okay, Bonkin is probably just the pick. There is debilitating injury. I'll grant you that. Kind of explained it earlier. Outlast creatures in general, already going to be a high priority for this deck. Creatures that are 2-drop or less, high priority for this deck. Creatures that give all of my guys with +1/+1 counters abilities, absolutely insane in this deck. So Bonkin is just like fits so perfectly in here. I think we got to take it. Okay, Kindred Invocation's an option. I do have some reasonably high toughness guys, but I want to see if there's anything else I would rather have. I mean, this is early enough where I can pick up an Invocation and, you know, maybe get some Archer's Parapets, but I actually don't like Parapet that much in this deck. I'd rather get beaters that get buffed from the Map the Waste. I think that's going to work better for us. This guy does have Outlast, but he's in our splash color, which I like less. We do have triple Map the Waste, so we already have like 3 sources of black in this deck, which is insane. So I'm a little less concerned about our mana base getting there. Um, I could just take the Woolly Loxodon. We have 3 ramp spells, and there is a 2-drop, and there's Sultai Scavenger too. Scavenger is pretty good, especially with Map the Waste, which works double time towards ramping towards it. Probably the Scavenger is the best because it flies. Loxodon is just really good too. I actually am a huge Loxodon fan, but I think I'm just going to take the Scavenger. Let's cut the Ambush Crotique. I just don't think I'm going to want that. Okay, so now it's Highland Game versus Kumar Bonkin versus Savage Punch. I think we're just taking the Savage Punch. Great card in general. Granted, we don't have a ton of Ferocious yet, but we do have Map the Waste to buff our guys and get us there. So I think we're just taking Savage Punch. Taking it over, yeah, Highland Game and Kumar Bonkin and Scoured Barrens, which would also be pretty good for us. But I like removal. I am a removal fan. Abzan Guide seems like a really easy pickup here since it's just good. Lifelink is amazing, especially in the matches where your opponent's trying to aggro you down. We can ramp to it as well, so I just like it. And it gives us Ferocious. Just basically Abzan Guide is insane for our deck, so I'm happily picking it up here. Okay, so I can take Abzan Guide number 2. I can also take Blossoming Sands. I can also take Throttle. I did mention earlier, fixing is going to be less important to this deck because we have triple Map the Waste. We can actually play 17 lands and focus a lot less on fixing, which is great. That's great news. So really the question is, do I want Throttle or Abzan Guide? Usually I take removal over dudes, but let's see what we got for removal so far. We've got a Savage Punch, and we have a Reach of Shadows, and Channel Harm is actually a form of removal too. I'm pretty tempted to take this Abzan Guide. It's debatable because removal is certainly really powerful, but I just like the lifelink. I think it's just really good. Okay, kind of want to Awaken the Bear. Awaken the Bear with Savage Punch gives you some nice little synergies. I'm just not a huge Meandering Tower Shell fan in general, especially in a deck that's trying to use some +1/+1 counters to do cool stuff. So let's just take the Awaken the Bear. I love that as a combat trick in general. And actually, I guess I was going to say you can Awaken the Bear at the upkeep, but I don't think you can do that, so I take it back. I lied. Let's take the Despise. Not likely to play it, but it's a sideboard option if we're up against something nasty. All right, Scout the Borders. We don't have any Delve, so there's not big reason to play Scout the Borders. Dismal Backwater is like fixing we don't really need. I think we could take the Sidisi's Pet, but that's pretty underwhelming on the splash. But I think I'd take it anyway just because it's got lifelink, so it's a good creature to like bolster up a little bit. All right, just in case we're short on cheap stuff, I'll take the Smoke Teller. But for now, I'd prefer to not play it. So really all we need out of pack 3 is a couple more cheap Outlast guys. Did table an Highland Game, rather. Very good. I'll happily pick that up. Oddly enough, we have a lot of like mid-range stuff. I think we could use a couple more fatties. The fatties we do have are fine. Like I said, Abzan Guides and Anafenza are pretty awesome. None of these cards matter too much. I guess Cavalry, maybe. I almost... Yeah, let's take the Feed the Clan rather than the Dreadmaw. Maybe it's better in the aggro matchup where I need it. Someone suggested that in the comments, and I don't know, they may be right. I've had mixed results, I guess, with the Dreadmaw. All right, so final pack here. We're looking for good Outlast stuff. We're looking for good stuff like that. All right, I guess we could take a Skull Hunter. I don't really like it all that much in this deck, though. I think we're more likely just taking the Kill Shot, which is solid removal in general. Yeah, there's Parapet, which is fine. But like I said, I think I'd rather just have removal, which is going to be better for us. All right, Battle Priest is a fantastic card for our deck. I think Battle Priest is one of the better ones we could ask for, honestly. Yes, it doesn't evade, but with all this bolstering, Battle Priest is just going to be great for us. So happily picking that up. Hope to wheel Kieran or Longshot Squad Even Hate Blade, I guess. Yeah, any of those are fine. So let's start making some cuts. We actually don't have to cut actual cards just yet, but I'm cutting stuff that I'd prefer to not play now. Like even Pet is probably not all that good. So we tabled Highland Game last time. A lot of Sultai charms. But I think we just take Savage Punch number 2. We've already got some guys that get Ferocious fairly easily. And it's just so good when you can get that. So let's take number 2 removal here. All right, Become Immense is a very nice finisher. I think I probably just take Become Immense. Yes, there's Blossoming Sands, but actually, I guess I take the Feat of Resistance. This is actually just more synergistic with our deck since it protects our sweet Outlast guys and gives +1/+1 counters, which interacts positively with our Battlefront Crew Shock. And just protection in general is insane. So, gotta take that. How many creatures are we rocking currently? We are rocking, with the Formless Nurturing, it would appear 13 creatures. So, yes, I would like some more creatures. I guess the argument for Parapet should have been Beastmaster, but it's kind of it's debatable. It's tough because I still am standing by. I don't think our Parapet's that great in this deck because it doesn't work that well with Savage Punch. Doesn't work that well with Map the Wastes. I'd rather have guys that just get, actual value from doing that. So I'm a little more tempted to do this. 17 land deck currently looks good. Some more. I think Alpine Grizzly is just like a necessity in this deck. It's exactly what we want. We have double Savage Punch. Really want to maximize that ferocious value. Now it's debatable what we're cutting. I guess probably the Awaken the Bear, which I actually do like a lot, but I think I would rather just have a Grizzly. Our fixing is actually perfect. I have no problems. If we didn't get one land fix, I still think we're really good because we have Guide and triple Map the Waste. So at this point, just taking some nice creature upgrades and stuff like that. Nightblade is like perfect once again. Just more awesome Outlast value with all this +1/+1 counter business. I think we're really going to get some nice synergistic value there. God, I got to make another cut. Yeah, I'm not going to do 16 lands. Which guy has the least synergy with the rest of our deck? I don't even know. It's all like really good. It's all really good. But regardless, I'm taking this. I'll figure out my cuts at some point. Hardened Scales. Could this be the one time I can actually play Hardened Scales? Let's do a count. Because what am I passing? I'm passing nothing. I'm passing a flyer. I mean, I'm going to take it, but let's do a count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 cards in our deck that actually work with Hardened Scales? I would be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued and interested in that. It's a pretty weak card, no doubt. Not even pretty. It's a weak card, I think, for the most part. It's such a potential do nothing, but 12 cards that actually work with it is pretty insane. I mean, keep in mind, all of your Outlast guys get double +1/+1 counters. That's nothing to scoff at. I do wish I had some more, but 12 cards that do +1/+1 counters. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested. All right, Tuscalocedon. I say why not? It's a big fatty. Could use it. Archer's Parapet, just in case we go against some nasty aggro decks and I need it. I don't think I need any of these. Probably just take the Master. Highland Game, number 2. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll have to figure out if we can even make it work at this point. We've got a lot of good cards in this deck. I think the main, let's just hate the Valley Dasher. I'm not going to play a Scout. So, main concerns about this deck. We don't have a lot of top end. But I don't think I even want to play the Colossedon, even though I just said I don't have a lot of top end. Just because we have high value in our mid-range. And we're playing 17 lands with 3 Map the Waste and an Inoc Guide. Do I play Hardened Scales? I honestly don't know. That's really tough for me to decide. Because, one time I don't know if you remember, but I played against a Hardened Scales and I got wrecked. Not to say that's going to happen every time, because I don't think it will, but I did get wrecked by a Hardened Scales before in embarrassing fashion. So I know it can do things, and a count of 12 cards that positively interact with it, that's probably one of the higher counts you're ever going to get with Hardened Scales. I think. It's got to be one of the highest counts you're going to get with that card. So I'm tempted to try it. If I do try it, then the only cuts I feel comfortable making are pretty much non counter generating cards, which is stuff like Highland Games. But the problem with cutting Highland Games is they work so well. We want our turn progression to be so good because we want to go Highland Game into Map the Waste, ramp, fix, plus have a 3/2 attacker on turn 3 that gains its life when it dies. It's just great value. It's very good value. I could cut the Formless Nurturing, but that is one of the +1/+1 counter cards, so I don't know. Everything we have is too good. I don't feel comfortable making any cuts, really. Because Guide even has the +1/+1 counter, plus it's a 2-drop. I think I'm... God. I mean, yeah, there's an argument to cut the Scavenger. I don't like cutting the Scavenger. I want the Flyer. We don't have any other Flyers, really. I guess Sky Captain. God, Hardened Scales would be cool. What do I cut? I don't want to cut any of my Map to Waste. Maybe 3's overkill, but it's never really overkill. You're always going to buff with it. So it's a buff spell plus a ramp spell. And it's pretty consistent ramp, too. I guess one of the main issues with Map the Waste in this deck is I don't have a lot of 5-drops to ramp into. So it doesn't take me to 3 to 5 for high value. It basically just buffs my early game and then maybe lets me fix fairly easily. Don't want to cut any Ferocious with double Savage Punch. Jeez. I don't want to cut Crew Shock because that's kind of cool. I like that. No double blocks allowed with your buff dudes. Kind of like that. As cool as Hardened Scales is, oh, I honestly feel like we need to play it. How do I do it? How do I play Hardened Scales in this deck without cutting +1/+1 counter spells or high value spells? It's like impossible. I can't cut my Highland Games. They seem too important. I can't cut Formless Nurturing because it's a counter card. I can't cut a Map the Waste because that's like one of the main reasons to do Hardened Scales. 3 mana ramp plus bolster 2, essentially. God. All right, I got to figure this out. What do I cut? All right, maybe we do cut the Formless Nurturing. Yes, it gets the +1/+1 counter, which I really don't want to cut. But what? But I feel like my 2-drops are more important with the Map the Waste. Because like Hardened Scales, Highland Game, Map the Waste, 4-power attacker on turn 3. 4/3 that plus ramp. God, that is good. Can't cut removal comfortably. This is some of the hardest cuts I've ever had to make. Oh boy. Alright. Maybe we cut one map the waste. Then we're down to 10 cards that work with hardened scales. Just rapidly losing value with it. God. Just too much inherent value in Beastmaster. There's no possible way I'm cutting that. Can't cut my guides. Can't cut Anaphensic, obviously. I could cut a Highland game, but like I said, having the 2-drops just so important in this format. Alright, let's cut one map the waste, I guess. Maybe I do cut hardened scales. I just can't. Because I feel like the reason I want to cut it now is like I just keep cutting cards that get counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. I can't run 16 lands. I'm not going to do that. Alright, I guess I cut the hardened scales. I want to play the card. I really do want to play that card. I have no idea what to cut. This deck looks way too tight. Way too tight to cut anything else. I'm basically playing a synergistically good card over a card that just on its own is more of a good card in general. Somebody got a better cut for me. Feel free to leave it in the comments because I am at a complete and utter loss on what to cut for hardened scales if I honestly want to make it work in this deck. It's not Grizzly, not with double Savage Punch in this deck. That's not happening. Alright, so a fairly good mix of colors. I think we just focus on let's focus on the white and the green. And we can minimize black in here. I think we can probably get away with maybe this. So 15, 17, we have double mapped away, so it's really like 4 sources of black with double mapped aways. 9, maybe we have too much white in this version. See, the thing is, I want to play Bondkin on turn 2, though, especially with mapped aways. So 17. Maybe I cut the scavenger for hardened scales. Is that what it is? Cut my flyer. That's on the top end. I guess I could. Scavenger's probably a better card, but hardened scales interacts with 10 cards in our deck pretty positively. It's a horrible mid to late game top deck. I mostly just want to try it. I think I gotta try it. I'm gonna cut a scavenger for it. So I think I'm gonna run my mana base like this. Although I gotta admit I'm tempted to go more like this. Because I really want green. But I think we're going to do more of an even mix. So let's do this. Let's cut the scavenger, bring in the hardened scales. I'm going to try it. 10 cards in our deck that work with it. So hardened scales into guide, into map the waste is like ideal turn progression. I've never played hardened scales. We're doing a Swiss. It's too tempting to pass up here, so I'm going to try it. Whether or not it's good, I guess we'll find out. Like I said, I played against it once. It was certainly good when it was played against me. So I'm at least interested to see how it does. All right, running it like this. We'll see you round 1.